Hi there, this is Two Legs Better, and I'm also a die-hard Buckeyes fan in New Zealand. And this is my dedicated channel specific to football, American football, that is. If you don't know, if you it's the first time, this is Ohio State Buckeyes, yeah, if you are interested in football, please stay tuned, and in this channel, I will talk exclusively about football. Now, the American football starts, college football starts in the second half of the year, and which makes currently it's the off season, and the off season sucks. It really sucks because a lot of uncertainty and a lot of news are usually bad news. Whenever you have news, that's usually bad news. I remember years ago when I was checking the bulletin boards, and whenever you see some important person's news pop up, you immediately think either it's a DUI, or arrest or injury or something bad. It's never good, For example, like Maurice Claret. After the 2002, Ohio State won the national championship, and then Maurice started to, a lot of issues came out, and he started to challenge and whatever. So he only played 1 year at Ohio State, and it makes you wonder what would happen if he can stay longer. However, things have changed. It's 20-some years past, and I think Ohio State, the football is getting better, but still no less drama. So now I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I do want to touch upon one little issue outside football, and then I'll get into the positions. And the issue I want to talk about is recently there are two guys called Jeremy Birmingham and Austin Ward, who has been producing the podcast on YouTube channels, and they have been really successful for, I think they have been there for over a year or something. They are my favorite beat writers for Ohio State. Okay, they have lots of inside information. They have the Roosters and Bobby Carpenter and Justin Zwick and all those other people, and I just love watching their show. And that's apparently honestly that's basically the only show I watch about Ohio State consistently. And others, they also produce good content, but I usually do them selectively. However, they were recently fired from the show because they were alleged to take $20,000 from Caleb Downs. So apparently it's the 24-hour interview series, and they promised, I think they proposed $25,000 to interview Caleb Downs, and somehow they gave Caleb $5,000, so $20,000 missing. So I don't know whether it's a communication issue or any other issue. It could be, they say, okay, the budget is $25,000, and it doesn't mean the payment to the player is $25,000. It's whatever the mixed up is. Now they are fired, and people coming out to say, well, terrible things about them. I don't know what to believe. Okay, I don't pretend to be an insider, so I don't know anything. So don't listen to me. I just like these guys, and they don't strike me as a content, totally conscientious type that's careful about money. So I believe it could be a mistake or something. I just don't know. It just sucks. Okay. Because without them, the Ohio State football world is a little bit empty. So I hope it can solve or whatever. I don't know what I'm hoping for. So we'll see. Of course, they both denied the allegation. And it also doesn't make sense. For $20,000, well, would you do that? I don't know. Anyway, so let's get that out of the way, and let's get to some football. All right. About football. It's I don't know about you, and I pay attention to the team's development in the off season. In this off season, came out of the national championship season. Last year they won the national championship. Okay, so that's great, but it also means the majority of the team was gone. 17 players, 17 starters have left the team, So there's a lot of holes to fill. So I want to go over position by position to kind of let you know what I think. Again, I gotta say, I don't have any insider information. I just pay attention. I have my sources, of course, but I pay attention. So this is my general assessment, and nobody knows what's really going to happen. But now, number one is quarterback. Okay, so quarterback apparently is the most important thing in the American football team, right? So let me ask you, what's the most important thing for a quarterback? Is it accuracy? Is it being tall? Is it, leadership or whatever? In my mind, the number one job for quarterback is to get first downs. You get first downs, you can get to, you keep the drive alive and you can score. And that's the number one job for any QB. You see Will Howard in the postseason run, the national championship postseason 4-game run. He is like in command. In what sense? To get first downs. Tom Brady and Drew Brees, whatever, Peyton Manning, they get first downs. That's what they do, and that's how you get command of the team. So that being said, so that's the first thing. And then let's take a look at Ohio State's quarterback situation. They have now 3 quarterbacks, scholarship quarterbacks on the team. There's Julian Sain, former number 1 quarterback 2 years ago, well, 1.5 years ago, something. And then Lincoln Kingholz. Lincoln Kingholz is also kind of a 4-star, high 4-star or 5-star quarterback, depends on who you ask. And he's an athletic freak. Okay, he's just strong. He plays 3 different sports and he's just strong. And then there's Taven Sinclair. He's tall, he's strong, he's a freshman, so he's inexperienced, but he's strong. So there are 3 of these things. I want to talk about Taven first. He's a freshman. He's not going to take over. Nobody expects him to. However, you think about it like Dylan Raiola and a couple other freshmen and some other freshmen before them, they can and they could, if they are needed, they can do that. They can be successful even at a big time program at Ohio State. So they could, and he's physically ready. Mentally, he's making strides. So it's still a good situation. Now, the real intriguing question is between Julian Sain and Lincoln Kingholz. For Lincoln, the knock on him was he didn't perform well 2 years ago in the bowl game against Missouri, and he was terrible in that game. Literally terrible. So, but a lot of people blame the coaches also because he didn't enroll early, so he lost half a year's development. And whatever the reason was, he didn't perform well in that. That's why a lot of people are really down on him. And then there's Julian Sain. Julian Sain was the number 3 quarterback last year behind Will Howard and Devin Brown. And Devin Brown didn't play much, and so Julian Sain didn't play even less. So, but he was hugely praised, and he was he's smart and he's intelligent and he has a quick release, so that's his good traits. The knock on him is that he's a little bit smaller in terms of stature, and then that comes this season. Okay, so a lot of people still bet their money on Julian Sain to be the starter when the first game against the Texas comes along. I'm in that group too, but I think the competition from Lincoln is nothing to dismiss. He's a real contender, especially because this spring, because of the long off-season run Ohio State had, so they didn't do a lot of work, and they need to manage the time because it's just too much work. Tend to have more injuries, so they need to manage that. And then they had the student appreciation date in the last weekend. So they basically performed 75 minutes of live drill, 11 on 11, in front of a lot of students. So you have a real audience real fans there, and you have a crowded place and a noisy situation, and it's a so in Ryan Day's mind is create a live game like situation as much as possible. I think they succeeded in that. So and that I love that. Okay, they also took away the black stripe, not stripe, the black shirt, because with the black shirt on you can't touch the quarterback. Now with it off, you can tackle the quarterback. Of course, you can't injure them. You can't really tackle them hard, but you can tackle now. So it's a real life game, a live game situation now. So, and I love that because that really tells you how a quarterback would react. Because when you have Ohio State pass rushers coming into your face, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", with long arms and trying to attack you like a big bear, it's hard to keep your calm. It's hard for us amateurs to imagine the situation, but I play other sports, so I kind of know the kind of pressure they might be under, but still I don't pretend to know. But I can imagine, that gives them more test, so you can see more. And Lincoln performed really well in that Student Appreciation Day, and Julian throw the long interception that day. So now to summarize, so this is how I feel about the QB competition. I think Lincoln has a real chance to do that because he's strong, he's athletic. So even if his passing is not as good as Julian saying, he can make it up by getting first downs by running or improvising. So he has a really good chance, and Ohio State needs all three of them. They really need all three of them. They need to keep Lincoln if he doesn't get the starting job. They also need Julian Sain, of course, and if he doesn't get the starting job. So it's kind of a maybe not a controversy, but it is a delicate situation to manage. Okay, so that's the QB. But the good news is whoever takes over should be really good. So I have no doubt about that. So Ohio State might lose the first game to Texas, but they still have like 5-6 games to establish the quarterback. So the quarterback is okay. I don't really worry about that. Now, the running back group is pretty good. It's in very good situation. You have C.J. Donaldson, who is experienced and strong, and apparently getting better as well. And then you have James Peoples, who is very good. He performed well last year with limited chance, but so I heard a lot of praise on him. So running back, and then Bo Jackson, not that Bo Jackson. If you're too old or something, this is a younger, new Bo Jackson, and he was good too. He performed really well, and so you have three QBs, and you have at least 3 running backs, viable running backs in the group. So that's a very good situation. And then you have the offensive line. The O-line is also encouraging. In the past, the O-line was like, we have 5 or 6 guys, and beyond that, what could happen? And last year, the team used 8 guys, 8 starters on the offensive line. That's really, it should have been trouble, but somehow they managed to still win it all. So, and this year seems to be better. It seems like, to me, in my mind, they already have like 8 or 9 guys that's good enough to play. 8 or 9 guys, that's a great number. I'm not going to go through each one of them. So they have the 2 tackles transfer in, and they have other guys, and then they have it's just the O-line is in a good situation. Now the tight end might be one of the deepest group. Maybe not as deep as the DBs and the wide receivers, but still it's a very deep group. I would say at least 4 or 5 starters in terms of tight end. Usually you need 2, maybe 3, and now you can have 4. That's really, really good. And you also have the best tight end in the country in Claire. So that's good. So at least I think it's a 4 to 5. So you see that this is the offensive side. The offensive side is really good. The quarterback is a question mark, but I don't really worry about it too much. I think they are in good situation there. So that's all good. Now the defense. The defensive line, I like it. I don't worry about that. I think the defensive line, the tackles are a little bit thin. The defensive ends were a little bit unproven, but I still think it's good. It's very deep. It's very good, and you have a lot of intrigue. You have C.J. Hicks. You have and the new defensive coordinator, Patrice there, and things are looking good for the defensive line. Okay, and then for the linebackers, I had some questions, but now I think it's also very intriguing. It's actually also very deep. You have the young guys, Peyton Pierce. Of course, you have Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles came back is huge for the team. So, and then you have Arvel Reese. Arvel Reese might be the best of them all. But Peyton Pierce and the freshman Lejean, I forgot his name. Anyway, so you have a 4 to 5 linebackers really performing really well. I don't just say it because I'm a Buckeye fan. They really do perform really well. So the linebackers are deep, and James Laurinaitis, I watched him play. So he was great when he played, and he also was good in NFL, but I didn't pay that much attention. So, but I was doubting his coaching. I was thinking, okay, can he coach? Well, apparently he can. I like this group now. And now, then you have the DBs. The DBs, and for the cornerback, now you have at least the 5 players in my mind is like top notch. You have Igby Nelson, of course, and then you have Jermaine Matthews, of course. He's basically the third starter of last year. And then you have Aaron Scott, you have Lorenzo Styles, and then you have the freshman Sanchez, Devin Sanchez. So you have at least 5 guys, and there are more guys there. And then for the safety, it depends on how you see it. I think it's other than Caleb Downs, other safeties are unproven. You hear good things from about a few of them here and there, but it's but generally I'm not worried about the safeties, because Caleb is just he's just really good. So you can see all the from my assessment, whatever that's worth to you, I think the team is in really good shape. The biggest question right now is QB, is quarterback. However, I don't expect that to be answered really quickly. And they have some kind of a spring game next week, so that's another chance for the QBs to shine. But if you pay attention in the past, you can see that usually the starting QB, the first year starting QB didn't perform well in the spring. It's not the end of the world. I don't know whether it's by design, but it wouldn't surprise me it is, because you could put them in a bad situation, see how they react. So they perform poorly, but they can learn from it. That's certainly one way to look at that. So I don't know. And one interesting thing I noticed is that pay attention to which quarterback buys the whole team gifts. Everybody did that. You have a CJ, you have others. And before that you have Justin Fields and everybody. They buy gifts to the whole team. That's the time they are going to be the starting quarterback. So we'll see. Lincoln and Julian, neither of them did anything like that yet. But I would expect that maybe after the spring game a little bit, and then you can see you'll hear news about that. So anyway, So my evaluation on the team is really, really strong. Can they repeat what they did last year? I don't know. It's still early. It's hard to say. But I feel confident, whether it's Julian or Lincoln took over. I think the rest of the team is just too strong to let anything, catastrophe really happen. So anyway, this is a Buckeye fan in New Zealand, the other side of the world. You can see I don't even have a gear, I had a gear, but I have a gear, but this is from years ago. I don't have the new championship gear just yet. But anyway, so this is my assessment, and I will. This is my new channel. This is the first video, and please subscribe, and I will keep posting in the future, especially during the game time. When the season starts, I will post more. But now it's off season, so let's hope. I don't know what to hope for. I guess drama is not necessarily bad for people, but it's just I don't know. Good luck to the guys, to Austin and Jeremy, because I really like these guys. So good luck to them, and thanks for watching. And you have a great day, and I'll see you later.